Children of Karens, what is the worst Karen moment you've witnessed your mom have? My mother harassed the hotel staff because she didn't have her teapot in the room, although she never drinks tea. She also has the habit to have no patience when we're at the restaurant, and often threatens to leave when the service isn't fast enough. A daily embarrassment.
We can tell you're embarrassed. I remember many teenagers and kids looking like they want to die, because their mother is acting like an irrational moron over food and service. The staff knows, we don't blame you, we know it sucks for you too.
We were at a restaurant celebrating my cousin's birthday. As the waitress is in the middle of taking our orders, my stepmom decides it's time to open presents, and cuts her off after half our group of 8 has already placed their orders, and asks her to come back after we open gifts. Then, immediately after my cousin opens the last present, my stepmom complains about not seeing the waitress in a while.
She couldn't have opened presents after ordering?
Have you ever dealt with a Karen?
There should be a support group for these kids.
Could you imagine the outrage by Karens? They'd probably show up and ask for a manager.
My mother is more of a lunatic than a Karen, but basically a few years ago my mom took me and my siblings to a gas station to get us slushies or whatever. We got there, made the drinks and then got to the register. My mom got charged an amount that she didn't like, and tried to accuse the cashier of scamming her. My mom didn't have much to argue with, so she shut up real quick. When we left, my mom flipped off the cashier or the camera, I don't remember. I just wanted to leave, and I was used to my mom behaving like this, so I just tried not to give a crap no matter how embarrassed I felt. We left, but then while we were driving my mom got upset, decided to turn around and go back to the gas station. My mom walked in and began screaming in the cashier's face, demanding a refund. Cashier wasn't having it and tried to tell her to calm down. My mom then proceeded to flip off her and the camera, swear at her. Then to make matters worse, she called the cashier the N-word. The cashier broke into tears. She threatened that she would call the police if she doesn't stop screaming. My mom was all, "Fine. Call them. Call the police."
My mother told a woman at the grocery store today that she must be glad to be working. Why? Because my mom risked going grocery shopping when she didn't have to, because she was bored at home, so she assumes everyone else is perfectly happy to not be safe in their homes. I'm glad that the woman looked at her like she was crazy, and said she would rather be home with her family. When I was about 5, I remember my mom screaming at a cashier because the supermarket didn't have any cardboard boxes left for her to put her groceries in. The next week, she went back there and did exactly the same thing, except this time, she absolutely exploded. A manager was called and she just went crazy for about 10 minutes. Eventually, another member of staff found us 2 small boxes that were good enough to get her to leave. My brother, who's a year older than me, remembers this too. He remembers a woman behind us in the queue saying to us, "Don't worry lads, it's not your fault." Presumably because we looked so traumatized. My mom is a bit of a Karen, and the older she gets, she's in her 70s, the more she seems to think it's okay to be rude to people. Me and my sisters have all found ourselves apologizing to staff in shops and restaurants when we've taken her out. At least whilst she's in lockdown and we're shopping for our parents, the shop assistants are all getting a break. The price of the Ponderosa buffet was more than the last time we were there, and she screamed at the hostess, who had no say in the matter, about how her children would just starve then because she would no longer be able to afford to eat there. She then stormed out by slamming the door in me and my sister's face, and got in her car and peeled out, forgetting her starving children to feel what should have been her shame. Is your mom a Karen? What's the most Karen thing that she's done? Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to like and subscribe for our latest videos.